Good morning class 12 students. So this is our third class. Previously we have seen that when a non-polar dielectric slab was introduced in between two metallic plates which produces electric field, then polarization took place, and due to that the polarized electric field was generated in the slab, and hence the effective electric field was reduced, and which was written with E equals to E0 minus EP, where EP was the polarized electric field, E0 is the applied electric field, and it is the resultant electric field. And then after defining the polarization density, we found that EP can be written as P by epsilon naught. So this was the relation where we have stopped. Now today we will talk about one more term, that is the electric susceptibility. So you please listen to it very carefully, or even you can write it down. The definition of electric susceptibility is that the polarization density of a dielectric slab is directly proportional to the reduced value of the electric field, and which can be expressed as, so this polarization density, this is directly proportional to the reduced value of the electric field, as because this is directly proportional to the reduced value of the electric field, to remove the proportionality sign we need to introduce the proportionality constant. Here it is. So if the medium is vacuum or air, then epsilon naught E, and along with that you can see one new term, this is called kappa. This is a Greek alphabet called kappa. It represents the electric susceptibility. So this electric susceptibility is the proportionality constant which relates the polarization density and the reduced electric field of a dielectric slab. And from this relation, if I will replace it, then what we are going to get? We are going to get E equals to E naught minus kappa, that is electric susceptibility, epsilon naught by epsilon naught. So these two will, we are having the E here, so this is actually, so how we are going to write? E equals to E naught, let me write it once, P by epsilon naught. So in place of P we are going to write this. So this will be electric susceptibility epsilon naught into E. So this will cancel each other, and hence let us bring it on this side. So we will write E plus kappa E equals to E naught. So we are getting this equals to actually 1 plus electric susceptibility equals to E naught by E. So when we are getting this as E naught by E, so E naught by E can be written as, we can write it as F naught by Q naught by F by Q naught. So F naught by F. So this is going to be nothing but dielectric constant K. So this is going to be nothing but dielectric constant K. So what is the relation we got here? We are getting K equals to 1 plus electric susceptibility. This is one more relation you can have. And in terms of this, we can define the dielectric strength as it is the maximum value of the electric field that can be applied to the dielectric without its electric breakdown. So dielectric strength is something which determines the maximum value of the electric field which can be the dielectric slab can withstand with. Okay, so now we are going to start the main thing of this chapter, that is the capacitor. So let us first define electric capacitance. What is electrical capacitance? For that, you please note it down. How can we define the electric capacitance? Electric capacitance is related to its ability to store the electric charges. So this is something, the capacitance of an electrical device is something which determines the capacity of storage of the charge in it. That is, when a conductor is given some amount of electric charge, it is raised to some potential. If Q amount of charge is given to a conductor under some potential V, then we can write that Q is directly proportional to V. So if a conductor is maintained within some V potential difference, then its capacity of holding charge will be Q. Now if we will increase the potential, the storage of charge will also increase, as because they are directly proportional to each other. So from this concept, what we can write? So from this concept, we can write electrical capacitance as under some V potential difference, a conductor holds a charge. If a conductor holds a charge Q, then Q is directly proportional to V. Q is directly proportional to V. And if we remove this proportionality sign, then we will write Q is CV. Q equals to CV. Here this C represents, this C is nothing but the proportionality constant known as capacitance. Of that arrangement of conductor. So as you all know that any conductor has a capacity, conductor or insulator has a capacity of holding charges when it is kept under some electric field, or by rubbing also we can do that. We can create some amount of charge in it. But how much charge it can store? Will that be enough for our device? We will see it in our due course. So before that, let us calculate for one thing. Let us consider a sphere, a conducting sphere, that is a spherical conductor which is kept under some potential V. Then let us find out how much charge it can store. For that, you please put the heading capacitance of a spherical conductor. Capacitance of a spherical conductor. For this, let us draw one figure. Let us consider a sphere of radius r. Then let us think that this sphere contains q amount of charge on its surface. So, if this sphere holds q amount of charge on it, then how much potential will be developed by this spherical conductor? So, as you all know that it can be written as V equals to 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught q by r. So, as because we want to see the potential on its surface, so it is V equals to 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught q by r. Now, previously what we have learned, so if one conductor is under some potential V, then we all know Q equals to CV. Q equals to CV, where C is the capacitance of the conductor. Then C equals to Q by V. C equals to Q by V. So let us find out what will be the C of this spherical sphere. C equals to Q by 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught Q by R. So this Q will get cancelled, and hence we will get C equals to, what we are going to get? 4 pi epsilon naught R. So this is the capacitance of a spherical conductor. So keep it in mind that when you are having a spherical conductor holding a charge Q on its surface, then it will develop a V potential, and due to that you will be having a capacitance of that spherical conductor as the 4 pi epsilon naught R. That is the radius of the sphere. Now, from this, as you can see, C equals to Q by V. So what we can write? The unit of capacitance. The unit of capacitance is coulomb per volt. Coulomb per volt. So this is the unit of the capacitance, and this coulomb per volt is nothing but farad. This coulomb per volt is nothing but farad. F-A-R-A-D. Farad, written with capital F. So 1 coulomb per volt is equals to 1 farad. This is the unit. Okay, this is the SI unit of the capacitance. Now, many a time you have heard about one term, that is the condenser. So, condenser are the device which is nothing but the capacitor. Actually, before World War II, we used to call the capacitor as the condenser. But after that, we have lost the practice of calling it as condenser. But then also at your home, when the electrician will come, they will say, or in the electric shop also, in place of capacitors, till now the condenser are much more famous. This is the used to term for them. Okay. Now, here we will find that a capacitor, how can we define the capacitor? So capacitor, as I told you, it is nothing but a device. Capacitance is the property of that device of holding of charges. So a capacitor is a device consists of two conducting plates called the coatings for storing a large quantity of electric charge. So how can we define the capacitor? The capacitor is nothing but an electrical device which are usually made of more than one conductor. That means you will find two or more plates over there, so that it can hold a large amount of charge in it. How? So we have seen one single spherical conductor is enough for holding some charge. So even we know that one single rod or a plate, that is also capable of holding charges. Then why do we need more than one plate? What is the advantage? We will find it in our next course. What is that? That is the principle of capacitor. You don't have to write anything over here. You have to just listen to it very carefully. For this, I will draw one diagram. So let us consider one metallic rod A, and by any process we have charged this rod A with positive charge. Now this rod has some amount of capacity of holding this amount of positive charges. We will keep on charging this rod until and unless the charge starts leaking to the surrounding. That means, as you all know, that charge will be held by the substance. So along with its surface area, it has a limited holding capacity. So we will charge this rod A to its maximum holding capacity. Okay, then what we are going to do, we will bring one neutral metallic rod B. So when it will come near to it, what will happen? Due to induction, the negative charges will be accumulated on this surface, whereas the positive charges will be on the other surface. So hence what will happen? Due to this, when the rod B when we will bring the rod B near to rod A, these negative charges will neutralize the effect of the positive, few amount of positive charges which are closer to it, and hence the potential developed in rod A due to the charging will be reduced. But it will not be reduced by a large amount, as because the rod B is also having some amount of positive charges on its other side. So suppose, how many positive charge? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So this 6 negative charge will neutralize completely the effect of this 6 positive charge, and hence we will get, and previously when this rod was not present, if V1 was the potential, then when we are bringing this rod B and induction is taking place, now VB, VAB will be the potential of rod A, and obviously VA was greater than VAB. So now, as because the potential of that metal rod has reduced, so what we can do now? Now we can add up few more amount of charges to rod A and can bring the potential from VAB to VA again. So we will do that. So when we are going to do that, so in this way what will happen? The capacity of holding of, as because the effect was neutralized, the charges are still present on rod A, only the effect was neutralized by this rod B. So the potential was dropped, but when we will be able to add few more charges on rod A to bring up the potential, what it implies that due to the rod B, we can now store more amount of charges on rod A compared to the situation when rod A was only present. Now this is one process by which you can increase the storing capacity of the device. What is the other process? One more process you can do, that is when you will connect this rod B to ground. So when you will do this, when you will make a ground connection to rod B, then what will happen? As we all know, earth can neutralize the effect of charge. So the earth will send some amount of negative charges to rod B, and the effective positive charge on this side of the rod will be vanished. So when this will happen, as you can see, the rod B is having only the negative charge on it. So it will, what it will do? It is not possible that the charge will remain on one side and the other side will remain empty. So the redistribution of charges will take place, and when the redistribution of charges will take place, what will happen? The effective reduction of the potential of charge of rod A will be much more, as because redistribution will take place. Then what will happen? Then again this side will be more positive. So what will happen? So now more negative charge will come on this side, and hence few amount of positive charges will be induced on this side, and which will be again earth again neutralized by this connection. So after this, what you can do, if you will remove this earthing connection, then what will happen? Again redistribution of charge will okay, let me tell you like this. Previously we had this redistribution of charge. Then suppose we have disconnected the earthing connection. So now what will happen? The potential, if now the potential is VAB dash, then this VAB dash is much less than VAB. So now you have more scope of adding up charges on this rod and to bring the potential from VAB dash to VAB and then to VA, which is the maximum potential it can have on it. So due to this, what it implies that when we are having more than one plate, the capacity of holding of charges is increasing. But when we are adding up the earthing with this rod, then what is happening? The capacity of holding of charges of the device is increasing much more. So this is how the capacitor works. So you have to be very clear about this concept, that why do we need more than one conductor for holding up or for increasing the capacity of the charges. So in our next class, I will show you the capacity of holding of charge by a concentric spherical capacitor, and then I will make one comparison with the holding capacity of charge with the single spherical conductor, and there you can see that how it is increased. Till then, learn this topic, get the concept clear, and be ready for those derivations. Thank you.